Cassiano Creative sponsors this episode of CLTP Studio Session. In today's crowded digital landscape, visibility means more than simply posting content. It means building communication that actually resonates. Cassiano Creative provides content marketing strategy, media correspondence services, and creative communication support designed to help entrepreneurs, creators, and organizations strengthen their voice and expand their reach. Whether you're launching a new venture, refining your brand identity, or building long term authority within your industry, Cassiana Creative focuses on helping businesses turn storytelling into strategic growth. Learn more and connect with those resources at CassianoCreative.com today. Hey everyone, welcome back to the CLTP Studio Session for the official podcast of Charlotte Podcasting out of the Queen City in North Carolina. I'm your host, Brandon Cassiano, lead consultant for the company, here to talk to you about all things podcasting. Now today, I want to talk about hosting and why it's important to understand hosting before the launch of your first episode. Now, what do I mean by hosting? In podcasting, hosting is not dissimilar to hosting, say, for a website if you're a web designer. It's a platform that will house all of your content and allow people to experience your content through one form or another. Now, what's a bit different from a web host is that for a podcasting host, the host actually distributes your show once it's uploaded to numerous streaming platforms, typically Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you set it up, you can also set up for Overcast, Pocket Casts, all the other streaming platforms, including iHeartRadio, TuneIn, things like that. Now, like I said before, a host is something you want to figure out before you launch your first episode. If you're a video podcaster, you've got a couple of other options for just the video part. Like YouTube, you can upload your show to YouTube, categorize it as a podcast, and that will actually set it up for YouTube Music by itself. But you miss out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other ones because you need an actual host for that. So, what to consider when looking for a host? Well, not every host has the same list of streaming platforms that it distributes to. Most do have Spotify, Apple, and whatnot, but as far as the other ones, which tend to have a decent sized audience of their own, Pocket Casts, Overcast, was it not Blue Sky, but Blue something, ones like that. They're not always the same thing. Also, most hosts, like a website host, do have some kind of monthly subscription fee to be able to access and manage your show on that platform. Some have free plans for those who are newer to podcasting, like Spotify for Creators. You can use that one for free. But if you're looking to, let's say, monetize at some point, you want to be able to sell subscription access to your show or to premium content, you will have to pay a subscription to that host that you're using. Another element to consider is how your podcast host displays your show. Now, a lot of podcast hosts like Podbean, Libsyn, and others will actually create a whole web page for your podcast. So let's say you don't have a website yet for your show. Depending on which kind of host you choose, you may get a whole web page out of it. So Captivate, Libsyn, Spotify for Creators, if I recall correctly, Podbean, they all create a customizable web page that you can share with your audience if they're looking to find out where they can hear your show. Typically, a podcast host produced web page for your show has a whole list of all the other platforms your show is streaming on. So let's say if I listen to my show or prefer to listen to my shows on Spotify, and I find your show and I go to your Podbean website page, I can make sure that in the list there's a Spotify logo, so I can go ahead and grab that RSS feed, put it into my Spotify, find your show, and give you a follow there. So lots of reasons to consider different hosts. Now, other free options include Substack, which is something I use for a bunch of my other content. I talk a lot about entrepreneurship, Charlotte-based businesses. I have my own podcast actually off of that one as well. This is like the third podcast that I host. A free platform to use for podcasters. Great for people who like to also do a lot of writing and a lot of blogging about their niche, their industry, their businesses, because it allows you to turn pretty much every single podcast episode into a blog post. Plus, you can create a whole bunch of other content for Substack. So lots of options out there. Again, have this figured out based on your resources, your budget, your preference for growth. before you launch your first episode. And if you want someone to help you figure out what all those options are, which one is best for you, how to best approach your podcast before you even launch, feel free to reach out to us at cltpodcasting.com or call us directly at 980-358-7760. Be sure to give us a follow wherever you're listening to us and follow us also on YouTube as well. And we will talk to you later. Have a great day.